was an industrial building right here in the middle of an industrial zone. It was originally Manel and Cheryl was a mill supply store, and then in 1999 it became the Amco transmission plant here in Bend. So it serviced transmissions for about a dozen years and then became a brewery last year. Come on in. The first thing we like to point out is that we have a lot of friends and family who help make this possible. So if we had a title, this is an art installation. Those are folk portraits of a variety of people. They're all paper cutouts from a folk artist up in Portland. If we had a title for that, it would be something like "It Takes a Village to Raise a Brewery."
When did you open?
We opened about a year ago, June 30th of 2012. But all the original scars on the floor from all the work that was done in the past. We really what we wanted to do was just really lean into the natural conditions of the building, the bones of the building. So our tap tower is made out of fire sprinkler pipe that's actually located here in the building. And we had the company that installed our tap system, they actually took fire sprinkler pipe and bent it to match the curvature of the bar. This bar is a single pour of concrete slab that was made by Cement Elegance just on the other side of the parkway there. Some of the reclaimed wood that we've used, this is actually from the side of a home that was built over 100 years ago in Terrebonne, which is about 45 minutes north. So all this is like old, really old milled, lumber. It's our hop cooler right here. What we wanted to do, we wanted to create an experience where the beer lover could come. Don't you love that? And you're a lager guy. It's amazing. We wanted to create an experience where the beer lover could come in and get more intimate with the craft of brewing beer.
Isn't that amazing? Here for a while, thanks.
You just wait. You wait here about 3 minutes, and you see the people at the other end of the building start to smile. It takes that time for the aroma to reach them.
The hop plant is really
and Tommy they have a lot of oil on them, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so you should rub that on your skin.
Yeah, it's excellent for the skin.
Is it?
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes
come on in here.
A very happy beer.
Here, Tom, help me out here. Come on in here. So, Larry, our brewmaster, came from the hop industry, so he actually has relationships with hop growers and a reputation with hop growers. So we get experimental hops shipped to us from around the world. We've gotten experimental hops from France, from Germany. So I want to pull some hop. These are some Sterling hops. Here, Tom. So we use a lot of whole leaf hops. These are hop cones. And then what really drives the aroma and the flavor notes is the lupulin, which is like this yellow polleny material deep inside the hop cone. Take that and rub it in your hands. That releases the aroma. Here you go. These are some mosaic hops, and that mosaic is kind of referred to as the fruit salad of hops. A lot of different flavor notes and complexity. So here, take that, Christopher, and kind of rub it. Yeah. There you go, Jeff.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So you can pick up on some tropical fruit notes, and you smell that? Yeah. It is good. I put it on my face.
You look good for guys 112.
It's a preservative.
We made a lot of the furniture ourselves as well, like these tables. We found this big slab of Ponderosa off of Old Bend Redmond Highway and had it cut down into 4 pieces, and then the tables were designed by using scrap metal that we found at a scrap metal yard.
That's amazing. What do you got rolling up top here?
Well, that's some good stuff. That is Flanders Red. That is in Pinot barrels. There are 8 of them, and there's some Brettanomyces in there, so that's a souring beer, a little bit more acidic. And then we also have 2, I think, of the Double Cross that are in Pinot barrels.
Okay.
Yeah. All the barrels that we have in the building are for secondary fermentation or for aging, not for decoration.
You did barrels right from the start?
Yeah, we had to make beer and put it in the barrels right from the beginning. Yeah.
How long will they sit in there for?
Well, sometimes the Brett barrels, they'll sit in there for up to 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So anywhere from 2 or 3 months to 2 years.
Have you released any of those yet?
No, we haven't. No.
We'll send you an invite.
We'll give you a heads up. I need your card.
Is there a, I'll give it to you.
I'm gonna take you into the cellar room here. Come on in so you can cool off in here. Oh, this is good. Yeah, this is some of our packaged beer. So we just started bottling. We had our first release. Oh, that's no labels on there. Right behind you. Oh, there's one? Okay. Yes. That is what you call a mistake. Don't shoot that. Right behind here. Pull one out of the box there. There you go. So that's our Impasse Saison. If you haven't had that, that's really wonderful. It's a farmhouse ale. So that's a real yeast-driven beer. It's got some spicy flavor notes that are just natural to the. A lot of breweries they introduce spices into their saisons. There's no artificial spices here. This is all natural flavors derived from the yeast. These serving tanks, they were actually made in they're Italian tanks, and all of our equipment for the most part, except for 2 pieces, we acquired as used equipment. We purchased from a brewery that went out of business in Japan. We looked for this equipment for about 2.5 years. So these are Italian conditioning tanks or bright beer tanks, and they were installed at this Japanese brewery. And we bought 2 different packages and assembled the brewery together. We got all this equipment for about 25 cents on the dollar. But you had to be really super patient. It was when, brewing industry was really catching on fire. As we know, there's a ton of new breweries coming online, and the used equipment market was really, the availability was really shrinking. So these are conditioning tanks. This is the final stage of beer processing. It's where at post-fermentation, you put the beer in here. That allows time for the yeast and other particulate to settle out and for the beer to clarify. We also use these as serving tanks. So some of these bright tanks are hooked directly up to our tap system, and you'll be drinking beers tonight that are coming straight out of these serving tanks. Come on up here. So this is our brew house, obviously, and this is designed and engineered by Zeman Brothers of Germany, but manufactured under license by a Japanese pharmaceutical company. This is one of 10 brew houses systems like it in the world, and they were specially produced. The Japanese wanted to build a bunch of brew houses for the Nagano Winter Olympics, and this is one of 10 systems that were installed for that.
Let's get you near the copper tanks here. Yeah.
What's that?
Let's get you near the copper tanks.
Okay. Get near the top. Okay. I don't have enough beer in there.
We'll have to wrap it up.
I think that's on over here to the kettle.
You should switch them around, right?
Yeah.
So you still got the
This is where the grain comes in. So this is the mash tun. This is where the grain, so the malted barley or the malted wheat will be brought in here through this cable bay conveyance system up here. It gets dropped in, from the hoppers into the spaces between the discs, and it pulls it through. So this is one of our mills here. This is our grist hopper. Come on in. This mill right here is over 80 years old, and Larry the brewmaster worked at Olympia Brewing 30 years ago. This is the first mill that he worked with. So we use this for small quantities of specialty malt. Typically, it's going to be the dark malt used for the porter or the stout, the imperial stout. This is a roasted malt here, and you can see the mill, what it does is it just crushes the grain open to expose the meat of the grain. So then when you put it in the mash tun, it's releasing the sugars, which then get converted to alcohol. We polish this once a week here. All this stuff looked like a tarnished copper penny when we got it. It was dark brown and dull.
like a lot of brass.
Yeah, it's called flitz.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it took about 5 times before it really started getting shiny. That's a hot water heater, basically. They call it a hot liquor tank.
With the 273
Yeah,
ones, yeah.
that's hot. Yeah. Okay, come on down here. This is our hop back. So the whole leaf hops that we use, they're put in here. So the hot wort that's coming from the kettle where we bring the brew to a boil, and we introduce different ingredients there, and then it goes from there into this hop back where we have the whole leaf hops, and it rinses that hot wort, which is about 200 degrees, through the hops and releasing that lupulin. And then this is a screen, and so then the hot wort goes.
Right after the mash?
No, after the kettle, after the boil. Yeah, yeah. So this vessel was originally a dairy vessel, and then Larry actually sold it to Bridgeport, Bridgeport Brewing used this as their original mash tun. And then they could later converted it to a hop back, and then he re-inherited it there. Yeah. So you can see we get a little bit of a space problem here. We get shipment of bottles in. We got to move something else out of the way. This whole pathway was totally blocked the other day. Just moving things. So one of the new pieces of equipment we have is this 50 hectoliter fermenter, which we just got in May. Prior to that, we just had these 6 Japanese fermenters, which those are all 10 it's a 10 hectoliter system, so it all matches up. This is a 50 hectoliter fermenter.
I saw some barrels outside too.
Yeah, we got some barrels out back. Yeah.
Right.
So this here I think is a Maker's Mark barrel. We got some Buffalo Trace. These are all filled with Imperial Stout. So the last batch we aged for 9 months in bourbon barrels. So we use a lot of wood barrels. That's for secondary fermentation or aging. And what we're doing is we're pulling out the characteristics of what was in there previous, what was distilled in there. So you had whiskey that had been aging in these barrels, and we're pulling out the whiskey bourbon characteristics of the barrel into the beer. So if you have tough love, which I hope you have some tonight, everybody needs a little tough love every day, you know what I mean? And you're gonna pick up on some pretty good bourbon notes. This is a section where we have our specialty malts, and there's a wide variety. So you know this. What drives the flavor of beer? There's a huge, broad range of different malts that you can choose from. I like to pick out a few and sample them. You see one you want to try?
They're chocolate.
Well, here's a Munich malt. I love this stuff. I could have it for breakfast. It tastes like grape nuts. Yeah.
Grape nuts.
Can you pick up on the sugars in there?
Absolutely. That's what turns into alcohol.
Yeah. There you go. Now, you have that, and then we have. Well, they move the stuff around. You know, I think they must introduce them. I think they must. Here, I'll share this with you. This is an acidulated malt, so this has some acid introduced. Not that kind of acid, but this is.
Watch out for the acidulated acid.
This is going to really. Whoa. Yeah, it's sour. You pick up on the sours there?
Yeah, very apple. Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we use that in the Flanders Red. So the sour notes the secondary fermentation with Brettanomyces.
Right.
And any sour note you're getting is from the acidulated malt.
Do you have that one?
What's that?
Flanders
Yeah, we do.
Red?
Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. I wanted to show you a dark. So your porters, your stouts, they're going to be brewed using this malt, which is a heavily roasted malt. We have some peated malt back there. That's It's dried over a fire that's
For the
using
scattered shell.
peat moss as its fuel source. These two silos actually came from Deschutes Brewery. So Larry was the brewmaster at Deschutes, and at the time of his transition, Deschutes was replacing these two grain silos with that whole tank farm that they have, big fermenters out
Right.
front. So it was great timing, and we were able to acquire these two grain silos. So we store two staple malts in here. So we have, it's a Pilsner malt and a pale malt. So which
So
is
that's
kind of
not
more of a
like,
bulk malt.
Arming the competition when they sell you that stuff.
Brewing is very fraternal. Everybody helps each other out.